Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 536. We're going to discuss a miniseries that was exclusively released for King-Ohger. This is King-Ohger, Secrets of King Rcules, which they note this in the final episode of, this is a 3-episode miniseries, aired back in 2023, I think it was. These episodes are just roughly 8 to 10 minutes apiece. And mostly put, here's kind of what happened. So we have Rcules having this female researcher. She's basically researching the secrets of the Shogunate. That's the country that one of the primary countries that the show is set in for King-Ohger. By the way, the only regular King-Ohger we see the whole miniseries, aside from King Rcules, is Rita herself. Though this is probably set before she met up with Gara. Before she met with him. And I think it was episode 5, I think it was, because this is like the in-between episodes 2 and 3. It's a tiny little gap. So, this is where we see himself with a sword, because I don't think this is not the same sword that he had in the first episode. I think Gara took it in the first episode, because he basically criticized him for how much terrible king he is. So he took a sword, and he took his cloak, because he's not wearing the cloak here in this miniseries. So, because researching the country's secrets, to get executed and finished, and then, it has a nice new sword for King-Ohger Zero. Well, the main mecha, we kind of teased it, per se. And then, also, apparently, Berdale, that's her name, she only exists in this miniseries, and she also popped up in the final episode of King-Ohger. And the other researcher here, who appears in this miniseries, he actually did pop up as a recurring character in King-Ohger. Yes. Let me take a look here for this one. Here we go. Let's see. No, it's not him. Kofaki. Yes, Kofaki. Yeah, he's in this miniseries, and then he pops up for a handful of episodes of King-Ohger. This miniseries was his debut, and then he showed up in the main show for a handful of episodes, and then his last appearance actually was in King-Ohger vs. King-Ohger. And of course, basically, they're researching this, of course. And then, of course, basically, the first episode ends where we have a researcher Fidel being possessed by a Kajum of the bug Nakaru known as Senjim. And weird thing about this guy, he pops up in this miniseries. And then he pops up in the penultimate episode of King-Ohger. Okay. Just by sheer randomness. Yeah, and he ends up possessing Fidel, where he actually... And then Rcules kills her, and then he puts contact to Rita and says, "Hello, Rita. I demand to be tried because I killed somebody." And then next episode, he's put on trial. Also, Rita's got her sword in chains. And by the way, she is not a Transformer here at all. Nope. And it is the same actors from the show, because of course they're working with the same budget. It's also this weird scene in episode 2 where Kajum had this weird effect where he's interacting with Prime Minister Kajum. Well, he's over here. It's a very weird green screen effect. By far, the worst thing about this miniseries is this weird green screen effect. Where he's over here, and he's over here, he smacks him, how it hits him over there, it's really weird, and knock him over, it's a very awkward scene. And sorry, the mirror, and then the Prime Minister fires a laser beam from his head, something he never did in the show. Yeah, this was so bizarre, this scene. I'm I gotta admit, it's acting-wise, it's really good. Nothing wrong with the acting here. It's and the performance basically of the two actors here who were clearly in suits They're not the issue here. The issue is the awful green screen for this one weird shot. Also, apparently, this grass field is the country of tofu, the home of the Black King-Ohger. Somehow he ended up here. Yeah, it's really weird. And like, oh, go back there. We see the mural. We see constantly looked at the whole show, which find the secret per se. And then Regulus basically, he basically is released because, well, the Bokurun sent a grunt monster. He sends out basically King-Ohger Zero to deal with it, and then he takes on Conjurum. Oh, by the way, you briefly do see in this miniseries. Well, I'll get back to him. So, of course, I know the secret of that mural. And he's like, you have Videl's memories. And then he transforms, kills him, and then, but it was promised like in a flashback, oh, he was going to give her a burial, which I'm sure he probably did. He's given candy she's in because she has a sweet tooth. And apparently this candy has got her research notes in. I'm like, that's a weird place to put a research thing. Like, I would have thought basically because they look like they have modern technology here, they would have like a version like a USB drive, but no. She put it inside of a hard candy, and we do briefly see the character of Barshamal. Yeah, this guy, who was confirmed to be deceased in the show. Yeah, unless of course you watch the show, you probably like okay, he tries to see him, and the only reason I know that he's dead because I watched the show. So could you probably say this is the Prime Minister? Yes, this is the Prime Minister posing as him. Apparently, he's posing as him pretty much since the start of the series until like episode 20. He does pop up in the actual version in episode 49. Yeah, he debuted in episode 5. And then he was going to be dead in episode 20. And then he comes back for the final episode. And that's it for him. It's on flashbacks. Doga does some stuff here too. Like, he's a heavy character who's here. Like, first he was sort of a antagonist toward the Red Ranger of the show. Then he pretty much is here. Like, once he realizes that the king he's working for is actually a dick, an evil person, he changes sides, and he basically is like, on the show he was auctioning himself off to various individuals. Eventually he ended up working for Gara, and he's there for a lot of the show. Of the 50 episodes, he only missed episodes 12, 16, 30, 32, 33, 36, 37, 38, 39, 41, 42, 44, 45, and 46. So he was there for, out of the 50 episodes, he only missed 14. Which, not bad for a recurring character like him. I mean, he's not a terrible character. No, not really. Him being here is fine. Because, it kind of makes sense. So there's that. You could say early on he was here a lot, but then by the second half of the show, they kind of reduced his role a little bit. He's basically there when Gara becomes king in the main show itself. He's there because he has knowledge of the previous kings. So that's the only reason why he retained services, which, not a bad idea. And basically, Gara needed an assistant because all the rest of the kings got their own assistants. I mean, basically, Rita's got Mafune. Yes. Which, here's the weird thing about her. She has not returned for the first movie. Nope, she does not. Once the show wraps up, she's never seen again. Rita herself does pop up for that really good miniseries, that really movie afterwards. Yeah. I do like Rita. I think she's an absolutely great character. And it's really cool the fact that I get a chance to see her on Kamen Rider Zex as Agent 6, which I think that's really cool. Now, it's a shame they had to cover her face up in the show because the actress herself is only 24. Yeah, she's only 24 years old. Now she's on Kamen Rider Zex. which I think is really cool. Yes. And if you're curious, did she play Alternate Timeline Rita? She did. Yeah. Otherwise, though, great miniseries. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily ruin anything for the show. It just sets himself up. It just basically how Regulus became evil. Kind of. Because here he's depicted as a pretty decent person. Yeah, he just does his job as the king. Yeah, he does basically... It says, okay, depicts the origins of Regulus Husky. And the rise of the kinghood. And how he became King-Ohger. Okay, that part was actually true. But rise to kinghood, that is... not here. Yeah, the premise basically of, like, his origin, not really. Yeah, that part was a lie. Because his origin explored in the main show. Why the heck would they think it's explored here? It does not. His rise to kinghood. No, he's already the king. So it's like, the only thing the thing around here that it's accurate is how he became Ohsama. Yeah, that part is true. But, oh, by the way, in the case of Regulus himself, like, does he return once the show wraps up? The answer is he does appear once after the show wraps up. Well, physically anyways, King-Ohger versus Dawn Brother. He does appear in a flashback for Boom-Ohger versus King-Ohger. But he was there for a lot of the show. And I did mean a lot of the show, like his Daga. But yeah, that's pretty much it to discuss here for this miniseries. So please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. Next up, is another miniseries, but it's Pickles Rare Soldier. Excuse me. So I'll see you in the next video. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Bye.